In today's video, we're going to get into how you get paid when operating your assisted living facility. Where does that money come from? How are you getting it? When does it come to you? We're going to get into all of that in today's video. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Brandon Gustafson. Welcome back to Assisted Living Investing. Today, I want to get into the topic of how are you getting money for your assisted living facility? How are you generating that income? Where does it come from? How much is it? How frequently are you getting paid? And we're going to get into that in today's video. There are a few ways, and I think you're probably going to be aware of those. I'm going to talk about Medicaid first. And I'm going to link a video up above of where I kind of got into the process of Medicaid and how it works and just a lot of the nitty gritty for that. So if you're interested in that process and everything that entails, make sure you go and watch that video. It's going to have a lot of really good information for you as you're trying to kind of figure that out. But the first one is going to be Medicaid. So Medicaid is a federally funded program that is administered at the state level. And so what that means is those funds come from the federal government. So they will tell the state, you've got $1 billion, go ahead and give this money to Medicaid. And states will go ahead and ask the federal government for more of that money on an annual basis. They set their budget. It kind of goes through a whole process. But the state is then administering that. And so they're going to say, okay, I have $1 billion and I've got 1,000 Medicare beneficiaries. So I've got $100,000 that I can spend on each Medicare beneficiary per year. These are round numbers. These are not accurate numbers at all. But let's just use those numbers as quick examples on how that's going to work. And so what they're going to say to you is, okay, so you're an assisted living facility. You're providing services to this resident here. And we're going to give you a daily rate that you can bill. So let's just say that daily rate is $100 that you could bill. Your state may or may not be, it could be higher or lower. Just kind of depends on how the state decides they want to administer that Medicaid plan. But they're going to tell you this is your daily rate. You go ahead and you bill it for every day that the resident is in your facility. So if you've got a month that has 30 days in it, you multiply that by $100 a day. Now you've got $3,000 in income coming in for that resident from Medicaid. Your state might be different. There's a few ways that they can administer this. They can do it themselves, or they may throw it out to a third-party administrator or an insurance company that you might be familiar with. United Health, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Optum, United Health, Humana. It could be any number of those businesses. Molina Healthcare is another one that does it. Oftentimes, these are insurance companies that have experience working in government-funded programs, which I have a lot of experience actually working in those in my professional career. So, but that's kind of how that money gets to you. You can bill them. The state's going to give you some guidance. Typically, you can bill as frequently as you want, but they're going to have specific days that they pay out. The states that we operate in, they pay it out on a weekly basis. I think it's every Thursday. Anything that's in that bucket, they're going to pay out. They'll start the process on Thursday, usually get funded by Friday, sometimes Monday. It just kind of depends on the process there. But you could bill as frequently as you want and then get your payout on the basis that the state that you're working with is doing those payouts to you. When you're working with Medicaid, there's also, they call it different things in different states. I've seen it rent, utilities, and food. I've seen it share of cost. I've seen it in a kind of referred to in different ways there, but it's basically, you can bill Medicaid, the state, for X amount of money per day, and then your resident also is going to have to pay this additional share of cost fund that is based off of the Social Security income that they get. And so they're going to take that money, and the state says, okay, they got $1,000. They get to keep $125 of that for whatever they want to do. And the remaining $875, you get to collect that from them for their share of cost. Those numbers are all I'm just using round numbers to make this really easy. It's going to depend on the state. It's going to depend on how much Social Security income that resident is getting. There's a lot of factors that go into it. But when you're dealing with Medicaid, you collect from the state, you collect from the resident. They both come to you as collection processes. So when you're working with a Medicaid resident, you actually want to set up a very similar kind of rent agreement with your residents, that they have to pay you the amount that has been given you from the state, $875 or whatever the amount is. And then if they don't do that, then they are subject to the laws of tenants in your state. So you could potentially evict a resident if they are refusing to pay through that process. It depends on the state that you're in. Landlord tenant laws, you might want to look into that actually as you're getting started on your assisted living facility and what those rules are, because if you're in a landlord friendly state, it's going to give you more benefit as well. It's just something you want to be aware of as you kind of go down that path. That's Medicaid. The next one is going to be private pay residents. So private pay is a person that just has enough money. They've sold their house and all of that money is now sitting in their bank account, so they don't qualify for Medicaid, but they need assisted living services. And so they're going to come to your facility. In order to qualify for Medicaid, they have to have under a certain threshold of money in the bank. So they're going to be a private pay resident. Now, some private pay residents, they want a very high-end facility, something that's really nice. They were a real estate investor and they have a lot of money sitting around. And so what they want to do is be in a really nice high-end facility. They want to have that kind of lifestyle, which is great if that's the type of facility that you want to be. You're charging them $5,000 to $15,000 a month for staying in your facility, which is great. If that's the kind of high-end facility that you want to do, you're going to set up a lease agreement with them that says, you pay us $10,000 a month for these services. Kind of outline those services there, and then you have stipulations in that contract that say, either of us could break this with 30 days notice, or whatever stipulations you want to have. Make sure you're looking at the rules and regulations in your state for how that's going to work. But if you do that, it's going to you're setting yourself up with a contract. It's going to protect you through that process. So I highly suggest that you do that. That's kind of how private pay works. You're then just working directly with them or their designated payee. But you're collecting that money from them on a monthly basis is how that one works. It just comes to you on a monthly recurring basis. I would highly suggest that you set up an ACH type of a payment, so it just pulls out of their account automatically. You're going to need to get some paperwork and things for that to do it. Very simple to do. A lot of banks will help you out with that process. So highly suggest you do that. Then you don't get checks lost in the mail or, oh, I forgot or whatever. It's just pulling it on the 5th of the month or whatever date that you put in your contract. So highly suggest you do that. The third way that you could get paid, and I don't have a lot of experience with this one, but it is long-term care. So a lot of people right now that are kind of in the age of assisted living, they don't have that long-term care. It wasn't really as prevalent of a thing for that generation that is in assisted living. As we get into the baby boomers though, and as that silver tsunami starts coming through, you're going to see a lot more people that have long-term care. So you're going to be billing that long-term care insurance and they will pay you directly. My assumption there is that money comes from them and there's not going to be anything that goes with the resident. I don't have a lot of experience with this one though, so I can't tell you specifics on how it works, but my assumption there, you're billing the insurance, they pay you the $5,000 a month or whatever that rent is, and then you collect it directly from that insurance company. Again, I would suggest getting ACH set up there if at all possible. It's going to just kind of save you some time and headache on the back end. So those are the 3 different ways that you can get paid in assisted living. If you use any of those 3 or you're interested in learning more about them, make sure you comment down below because I'll be able to kind of engage with you a little bit there in the channel. Also, make sure you get over to the website, assistedlivinginvesting.net. We'll have a link down below so you can get over to the website and we can interact over there. Sign up for the newsletter. You'll kind of get some really good tips and tricks on our 12-week process for getting into assisted living facility. Getting into an assisted living facility and how to invest in them. So make sure you sign up for our newsletter. We'll get you all that information over there and get our free underwriting calculator as well. Again, over at assistedlivinginvesting.net. Does investing in assisted living sound interesting to you, but you don't know how to get started? At Assisted Living Investing, we're here to help you out through the process from start to finish. Make sure you visit us on the website. Thanks for watching and have a great